In today's episode of the Pathmonk Presents podcast, I'm with a very interesting guest. I'm with Jaymi Onorato, and she is hailing over from Intensify. And intent data has been a very interesting topic in the recent episodes. So I'm very glad to have her on the show. Intensify is an intent activation software, and we're going to be learning what that actually all means and who's using it and how B2B marketing teams can make the most of it. So she's the marketing manager and at Intensify, and today we're going to learn all about the company. So welcome to the show, Jaymi.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Very good. So maybe give us an overview, right? What is Intensify all about?
Yeah, so Intensify is an intent data software and solutions provider. We focus supporting on B2B marketing and sales efforts by first layering our proprietary intent data with multiple complementary intent feeds to really provide a broader, more precise picture of target buyer needs. Secondly, we make it easy for B2B marketers to act on those insights across multiple use cases like programmatic advertising, content syndication, and so forth.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Could you tell us, maybe a use case, like, what would a marketer would be doing with the software? Like, what would they achieve? Maybe just a couple of, maybe one or two use cases. They go in and what are they doing? They try to understand the buyer's journey. Do they, identify leads that sales should be reaching out to? Maybe what are a couple of outcomes people can get?
Yeah, so our value proposition specifically, we really aim to achieve two main things. So first, our intent data is identifying the companies that are most in market to buy. So our software is a little different in terms of we layer, again, like multiple intent data feeds. So most providers only have one intent data feed, and no feed, not even ours, can really provide that entire view of your target market. So because we layer all those feeds, we're amplifying the strongest signals to buy across multiple feeds. So it's like you're having in a criminal trial. The more witnesses you have, the stronger the indication or the stronger your argument is. So with more signals, the stronger indication of buying. So we help B2B sales and marketing teams really identify those companies most in market to buy. But not only that, we also help them create the content and the messaging that's really going to convert those visitors and those prospects. So we do that. It's mostly the sales teams, they're following up with these prospects with the right content, the right messaging based on what their needs and their interests are. So it's really just, the activation piece is the biggest piece. We're not only having collecting all this data and giving you an aggregating all that data, but we're automating that process. So we're moving the headaches of pulling all of these insights across feeds and trying to kind of, digest it and draw insights from it. We're making it more actionable. And that's just helping teams see results faster and, become more accurate in their targeting.
Very good. Very succinct description of what intent data is and how it can be done. So for all the folks who are just tapping their feet into intent data, that's obviously very helpful. You mentioned B2B sales teams, right? Like, who would be the typical types of companies that would be leveraging your platform? Are we talking enterprise companies? Are we talking startups? Like, are we talking specific industries? Like, who's using intent data in your perspective?
Yeah, so we mainly target, enterprise companies. They have the bigger budget and they have the resources to utilize intent data. It does take a lot of education, the right resources to be able to effectively use it. But the industry's evolved, right? So there's not, it's not like a one size fits all. You can target the smaller and medium-sized companies and make customized solutions for them that actually meets their needs. So they're not, getting anything that they don't need. So while we do target enterprise companies, we also know that intent data is so valuable for small and medium-sized companies. And now they're able to really, afford it. And the game has changed. It's not just the big companies. Everyone can really utilize it. But to answer your question, yeah, the enterprise companies are really taking the big chunk out of it. So that's who we're focusing on.
Yeah, we definitely have seen that on the podcast, like more and more marketers, like from even different solutions coming in and by themselves, like mentioning that they want to look into intent data, they want to get started on intent data, they're in their first campaigns or investigations. So it seems to be a very hot topic at the very moment.
Definitely.
Very cool. So let's talk a little bit about the customer journey, right? People getting started with Intensify. Like, how do people hear about Intensify? Like, what is sort of the main channels that you guys are leveraging? You must have like sort of a competitive advantage there, I should say.
Yeah. So first, we don't expect visitors to, just initially land on our website. So we do a lot of content marketing to provide education around intent data. Even though, it's an upward trend, a lot more people are using it, still a relatively new tool. So we're just trying to build more education and raise awareness for us as an emerging brand in the space using that content. But we're also utilizing co-marketing with complementary vendors like agencies and other intent data providers. We're playing nice and we are using other providers because there is value in using multiple intent data. But we take a more active approach in finding our customers using our own intent data and our intent-driven solutions, which is obviously kind of cool. We get to use our own, but finding out who's really in market to buy from us and who we should go after. So providing that education through content, but also utilizing our own solutions and products to really see who is most likely to buy from us and who to buy.
It's kind of like a marketing inception. It's using intent data to identify people who are interested in intent data. Very good. Okay, exactly. Cool. You mentioned the website actually. What's your thoughts on the website? Like, what role does it play in your perspective in terms of client generation? How do you think about the page?
Yeah, so our website, we are focusing on, again, building that education, providing content through our blog to help people understand the value of intent data. But we're, trying to find that balance between giving them too much information and giving them not enough. So we want to prompt them to ask questions and to, submit contact forms and to use our chat box to really help them answer any of the questions they have. But we are also taking a more personalized approach too. So some people visiting our website might have very basic understanding of what the data is, and some might be, an expert in the field. So finding ways to personalize their experience or user experience with CTAs that are promoting content that's more basic, for the visitors who don't know that much about it yet. And then for the visitors who do know more about intent data, giving them more down funnel content and things that are really going to connect and resonate with them. So we are finding that balance on our website, and we are collecting more and more inbound leads as we're focusing on just the user experience and creating more personalized content.
I see. Makes a whole lot of sense. Like typically the marketers that we have on the show, they're very sort of like critical with the websites because they never see it as a, finished piece, obviously. Like, where do you see sort of the major strength of the page and maybe sort of on the flip side, the major room for improvement?
Yeah, so I mean, we're constantly trying to improve our website and just looking at the competitors, seeing what other players in the space are doing. But I think that some areas of improvement, could still be that personalization piece. We are a young startup, so I'm on a small team of 2. We only have so many heads and manpower to really get through to all of our initiatives. So using the resources that we have to improve the current website. I think content is the biggest piece of it. So having this blog and having all of that education to provide to visitors, it's not only, helping them, but it's positioning us as that thought leader. So building credibility in that way it's especially important for us in the B2B intent data space. I guess some room of improvement. There's always room to improve, right? But I think just focusing on that user experience, that buyer's journey, and really connecting the dots, where are they landing? How can we guide them down funnel? Maybe what content can we present them? What messages can we use to help them get to that end stage? So in terms of any specifics, I think that, the strongest pages would really be our homepage and our software and solutions page. Those are where people, right after they visit that, they're going to go to our chat box and chatbot and ask questions. They're going to submit contact forms. Can we learn more? What's your pricing? Again, we don't want to give everything away and just have them not really answering their questions, but we want to prompt them and incentivize them enough to be asking the important questions for our sales team to then follow up with them and have that call. So it's really about generating that awareness, and that interest is what we're really focusing on with the website.
Interesting. I mean, that definitely gives an insight on how you thinking about the journey. I would love to do like a little switch of topic, right? And learn a little bit about your own personal journey in marketing. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about sort of how you keep yourself sort of educated within the area of marketing, right? There's so much stuff happening. You mentioned, intent data is a new tool. Chatbots have been a couple of years around now. There's always new stuff appearing. How do you keep yourself educated in marketing?
Just staying up with, newsletters from big industry publications is huge. I'm, subscribed to probably over 15 newsletters. There's so much content out there, and trends are always evolving in this space. So keeping up with all of those trends, all the patterns. I'm also, I'm working directly with our VP of marketing, David Crane, and he is he's an expert in the field. So I do get a lot of my knowledge and my marketing strategies. We collaborate and I get a lot of that from him. So having someone working with someone so closely in that way has just helped me become more of an expert, because, probably a year or two ago, I didn't even know what intent data was. So I think that my understanding has just really skyrocketed, and understanding how to market this product from him and from looking at what, again, other competitors are doing, staying on top of the newsletters, like marketing props, marketing charts, it's all connected in some way. So as you're understanding trends in SEO and, website optimization, content marketing, it's all, pieces of the puzzle that you need to understand to really have an effective overall strategy. So just not limiting yourself to that education, and always reading up on, trends and topics, new topics. I think it's, that education piece is like vital.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Guys, so cool. So we're getting now to the end of the interview, and I would like to join into our rapid fire questions to learn a little bit about you. So what is the last book that you read?
The Elements of Style, which was given to me actually by our VP of Marketing, by Franken White. It is the last book I read.
Very cool. What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
One single thing. I would say our demand generation initiatives right now. We're building out our demand gen funnel and identifying and defining stages like MQL, SQL. It's a big foundation that we've been needing to build, and we're finally making a lot of progress building that demand funnel, and just helping our sales team, giving them more qualified leads. So that's been a huge initiative that not only the marketing department's been working on, but sales, customer success, across all departments.
Cool. If there would be no boundaries in tech, what's the one thing you would fix for your role today?
I would fix, what would I fix? I think I would fix, and it has to be in terms of technology.
It can be whatever you would want to fix. You have a magic stick.
I would fix marketing and sales alignment, definitely. I think I write about that all the time, and I know the importance of it, but there's still a little disconnect. And I wish that there was more tools and technology that really aligned us, but effortlessly in a way, if that makes sense.
A lot. What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
Let's see. I think just how large we're going to grow. I know that, we've been growing so fast, and I'm just wondering what new offices we're going to open, where we're going to expand, how many people we're going to be joining this year alone. So I think in a good way, it's been keeping me up, and just, it's exciting to see what we're going to do next.
Very cool. And the very last question would be, right, if today would be your first day out of education, right? You're just leaving education, you leave, we can go back to the days of Providence College for that matter, get all the way back and say one thing that you would give yourself as an advice. Like, what would be the one thing that you would tell yourself?
Work smarter, not harder. I know that sounds a little bad, but I think just over the last few years of just having my full work experience, I've dedicated too much time on, just not working as effectively, not automating mundane tasks, multitasking, which makes me way less efficient. So just learning how to work smarter and understanding that that's fine too, I think is a huge piece for me.
Awesome. Very cool. Jaymi, I really appreciate you taking the time today for the Pathmark Presents podcast. I want to give you the very last word on the show. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Intensify today, what's the one thing that they should remember about the company?
Yeah, so no one source of intent data can cover all the research activities of your target market. And so, that's why most intent users are leveraging more than one source. We recently came out with a research report that said 89% of marketers are using 2 or more intent data sources, which is a huge jump in compared to recent years. So just to, recap that, we are automating that data aggregation, analysis, and the activation of intent data so marketers can spend more time on their strategy and less time with the headaches of every day, data aggregation and coming up with those insights that it's not as effective. So I think that we're doing something very different in the market, and it's going to blow up really soon.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathmark Presents.
Thank you so much for having me.